explain what we're doing, Kong?
Changing the oil.
Changing the engine oil on what tractor?
The big one.
And what's the big one?
I don't know.
The white 2135. Well, so much for the anti-drain back. These babies are empty. Okay, so 2 new filters, Baldwin BT 124. The second Baldwin BT 124. Okay, now I gotta go under the tractor, leave that in place, take out the 2 drain plugs. All down. Okay, just watch your foot. Place that on our plywood. Just watch that, but just stay there.
Yeah.
Just gonna grab a rag. Okay, pass me that 1.1 under your foot there. Yeah, that's it. Pass it up here.
It's almost done.
Yep. It drains out very fast.
What are you doing with all this oil?
Oh, we take it in and recycle it at the dump. Recycling center. it gets turned into other oils, or I think they actually make it into diesel fuel, but I might be wrong on that. Oh. Gotta remember which plug's what. So they're supposed to be the same size, but we know from the wrenches they're not. One's 1 1/8 and one is 1 16. I'm just gonna loosen the fill cap so it drains out a little, whatever's left here. Here we are. Oh, that's coming out fairly nice today. Normally this takes a little bit longer. So we're going to put the Shell Rotilla 1540 in. That's what we run in both of the tractors. So we picked up some Shell Rotilla T4 triple protection 15W40. Unfortunately, on these old tractors, they didn't think about servicing them that much. The fill hole is ridiculous where it is. They would have moved it 6 inches forward and they could have put a 2-inch or 3-inch more pipe on it and got it away from the water separator and the fuel filter here. Still would have been in the oil pan. And you have all the room in the world to do this.
This is taking forever.
I know. Thought I had a larger filter, but I don't. But then how it's all weaseled in here. I think this is the filter that I use. I think a bigger filter, you couldn't get down into that spout.
I'm standing in the sun.
I think there's the toolbox resting on. 5-gallon bucket would get pretty heavy if you had to stand here all day with it. Or 18.9 liters. You can't just leave anything alone and just call it a 5-gallon bucket. It used to be a 20-liter bucket. And that was wrong, so now they're 18.9 liters. Okay, so we just finished changing the engine oil there. We're at the back at the 3-point. This tractor's got a fairly good size 3-point. I can't remember if it's class 2 or 3. Kind of think it's class 3, but it might be 2. I think it's actually either or, and that's why it's got 2 different pin spots for the top link. Anyways, so the hydraulic, transmission, differential, everything in its dog oil is checked right here. It's full. It's actually a touch over full. So we put TDH in it, which is tractor or transmission, differential, and hydraulic fluid. So on this tractor, everything except the engine oil pretty much runs off of this, except the power shift, which we'll check in a minute. Here we are at the power shift. So there's the engine oil filters, the oil cooler, water separator, fuel filter, primer pump, one of the tanks, fuel tanks, the other one's the saddle tank over on the side. There's the over-under or power shift or whatever you want to call it. Right there, filters on the other side. And somebody took the dipstick off, so I just use a clean piece of straw. Go to the bottom. And yeah, that's good. That's good, yeah, see it down in there. So if you overfill it, it does not like it. And if it's underfilled, because it leaks, the power shift leaks on whites. There's not a white out there that the power shift doesn't leak on. It even says in the manual, check the oil every 8 to 10 hours. And you can tell because the tractor starts acting all funky, and all of a sudden, I can't remember if the steering starts acting wonky first, or if you start losing torque when you're pulling. It's not so noticeable on something like the haybine or the baler, but if you're cultivating, you notice it right away. So, anyways, there we are checking that. So we're just going to grease the tractor. There's the injection pump. AC, can never remember. It's a compressor anyways. There's one of the rads and the cooling fan, air cleaner, filters, pre-screen for the air cleaner. So we're just greasing the front end of the white. This is a pivot back in here. We're using Shell grease, summer grease. This is a steering linkage tie rod, I think is what it's called. So there's two reasons why you grease. One is for lubrication, and believe it or not, the other one is more or less just to drive out the dirt and the water that may have accumulated inside something. I can't remember if this one's called the kingpin. I think that's on the outside. This is the main steering column anyways.
I hear an owl.
Yeah. Okay, then there's down here. I think this is technically the kingpin. It's coming out the top there. This is the other part of the steering tie rod. Okay, then we go over to the other side. back up there. Forgot that telephone on this side. Thought it was okay, and then there's one on the very front. And that's greasing the front end. We won't grease the 3-point because we don't use it that much. And it's so loose right now that it's sagging all the time. We're doing the air filters right now. So this is the air filter. There's a primary and secondary in here. Then up top there's the pre-screener. These are usually pretty good. I see there's a little bit of fuzz from the trees in here, so clean it out anyways, just blow it out. Just gotta take the wing nut off here, get to it. Ooh. Got about 5 inches of thread in here. It's probably 4 inches unnecessarily. And I guess you gotta get the main cover on. So the wing nut, second wing nut, takes a minute. There's the canister right there. That's primary. So you just blow it out, blowing it inside. That would be second cut hay dust. Okay, we'll set that on our piece of plywood. Go in here and get the secondary. Maybe. So we got this all cleaned out. Secondary is good. Put that back in there. Seats at the back somehow. I can never quite remember. I think that's it. And you put the wing nut back on. And I think when I put the wing nut back on, I discover whether I got it seated properly. I think the wing nut doesn't go in proper if it's not. So. Oh. Assuming that's in there. There we go. And we just put the main cap back on. Okay, and then one of the last things we do is check the rads. They were cleaned out in the fall. Just a couple leaves in here. There's oil cooler in here for transmission, differential, everything. There's an oil cooler in here for the power shift. There's AC, I think it's condenser coil. It's either condenser or evaporator coil, I can't remember all the time which is which. And then there's the main engine rad, which is in the very back here. So we took this all apart in the fall and cleaned it all out, and it still looks pretty good. So done there, and then this here is just part of the AC. I forget exactly what it is right now.